How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Therapist and the Counselor podcast. And today we're going to be talking about social media and the effects it has on mental health. Stay tuned in. Please subscribe. And don't forget to comment below. Jesse?
Sounds good to me. It's right there where you subscribe.
Or it's right here.
Or I could talk into the microphone, say subscribe.
There you go. Here's the show. All right, Jesse, we're here another episode, and what are we talking about today, big dog?
First of all, we got these now.
We got we upgraded. We got
what are
mics.
these called? They're called headphones. Oh my gosh,
We
the
got
future is
mics.
now. We are a legit podcast.
Yeah, and our audio is gonna sound really good, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
because we got mics.
We can bring in the headphones. We got the mics.
Yeah.
Get a wardrobe.
Yeah,
Man, next level stuff.
this is We'll be wearing helmets next time.
Ooh, I don't know to go with that one. So, what are we talking about today, man?
We're gonna be talking about mental health and social media, or media in general, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think it's a big. Obviously, media has been kind of taken over. Technology's getting bigger and bigger. We got.
Taken over. It has taken over. It's been in charge for quite a while.
By the way,
so.
have you used ChatGPT?
I
Do you
think
know what that is?
You're bilingual, so I don't know exactly what you just said right
yeah,
now.
yeah. So ChatGPT is like an AI technology, where like you literally just type in any question and it answers the question for you, or like you have.
Oh, it's called Google, right?
No, no. But like you could say like, hey, like write me like create a presentation to sell cars to someone. And it'll like fucking create this entire presentation. It's
I
kinda
did hear
crazy.
somebody talk about that recently because I think they were talking about like kids in school and how like
Yeah.
they're gonna almost use that like
Yeah.
future generations. Like, how can you tell the difference? I guess there'll probably be some type of like process or like some kind of technology that can counter that. But
Well, you gotta think about it this way: like, you better do some schoolwork in class so that you can compare that versus what you're bringing in outside of
Gotcha.
class. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? 'Cause
yeah.
it's like if in class you don't know like certain words, you have a style, and then it
Mhm.
changes up when you go home. There's something sketchy going on, right?
well,
Like,
speaking of sketchy, I love to be sketchy at some point in time in my life. So if that was happening right now, like when I was growing up, like high school, college, I totally would.
I
I'd
know.
use the shit out of that technology
Yep.
until I got caught. So
I know you would. But yeah, so let's talk about this. Get into this discussion about like social media. Maybe we could start off by.
well, yeah, I wanted to ask you. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I was like, why do you have a social media account?
Yeah, you asked me that earlier, and I kind of froze. I didn't really. I got to think about it. I think initially, the first social media account I ever had was MySpace.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
you have a top 8 or top 16?
I had a top.
Top
I had
30?
a top 8.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, so much pressure from people to get on their top 8.
Man, I know, right?
But I think I got it because of because people were doing it. It was cool. It was like, and then I got Facebook for the same exact thing.
Right. It was the trend, right? It was
the
like,
trend.
let's do this next. Everybody's doing it. This is.
Yeah.
If you're not on this, then you're missing out.
Yep. And Instagram, same thing. Yeah, like my wife had it, and then a bunch of other people had it, and I felt like I was missing out.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I got it. That's not why I keep using it. I keep using it like now. I'm using it a little more intentionally.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the. Well, how about you?
I think that's interesting. Well, you said MySpace. It was MySpace for me as well. But at the time, I had my band, and that was like the best platform. I like getting an actual website. People are like, just go to MySpace. This is where bands are promoting their music.
You're using it for business.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like, but then I think you somewhat fall down that rabbit hole of like what is in and what is the trend and being a part of something. So. And then, yeah, MySpace to Facebook and Facebook to Instagram and so on. And it's just like, oh, yeah, this is where everybody's at. I don't want to miss out. I want to be a part of something. So, yeah, that was kind of like the pattern, I think, for me as well. It's just being connected. So.
I feel like it had a really cool social intention
Yeah.
behind creating those platforms, right? It's like
Yeah.
you can talk to people, like if you had friends who were living out of town, out of state, family members, like there was a way to like keep everyone connected and like updated in what's going on in your life.
You said it's changed though, right? So it's changed for you now. Well, why do you have? I don't, to go through every like social media account you have, but like, why do you keep them present day?
Now it's a little more business, like just to promote kind of like what you were
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say like this is better to talk about how I use them now. I use them to promote and to like create content and to like get content out there. But then I also use it as like a distraction, almost like TV.
Yeah.
Like, you should turn on the TV, just kind of see what's on. Like I don't even have cable.
Yeah.
So like what I've replaced TV with is social media. Like
Right.
I'll do the scroll thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I caught myself today as I was getting ready to like come here. I was gonna shower. Anyways, do the little things here and there, and this happens often. I get stuck in this scroll of doom, where I'm just going through, and I don't even know what I'm looking for. I guess part of me is just getting lost. I want the entertainment, but yeah, I guess it was back in the day was flipping through the channels, and now it's just like I'm staring at this black mirror, the screen, and I'm just going through thing after thing of just like amuse me, like keep me alive, like yeah. So it is. I mean, that's part of the unhealthy pattern, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So.
Yeah, because I mean, a big part of like why you're scrolling, and you probably know this, but like your scroll is different. That like you have different content.
Yeah.
That you'll get deep into than I will,
Right.
because it has like an algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Like it has an algorithm for what you like as you individually. So like they've really gotten like the technology so down, like to be able to figure out what you like and to just feed you that and feed you that and feed you that. It's
Right.
like addictive almost.
Well,
like,
this is why I asked you, why do you have it now? I question sometimes why I have my social media outlets. Before we started setting up this podcast, like there's an intention with what we're doing here. So this is why I think social media, it's a huge platform to promote yourself, but I still have a Facebook. And I'm almost like Facebook shamed in the sense, like if somebody asks me like, "Hey, do you go on Facebook?" I'll be like, "No, I don't do Facebook. I keep it because there's the people that I don't talk to anymore, and it's good. I still connect with them, and part of it, I feel like I'm almost kind of full of shit, where I'm just
you are full of shit.
yeah. I keep these things because maybe there's a relevancy with it, and like I don't want to like these people that I don't. I mean, I'm in touch with these people, but am I really in touch with these people? I do want to bring up a story like earlier this year is that like there was a high school friend that I grew up with who actually got cancer, and unfortunately he passed away. And I haven't talked to this guy in years. We reconnected like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, but nothing really came of it. But I found out through like Facebook that something was going on with him, and I was able to talk to him this year right before he passed away.
Wow.
And that moment right there, I was like, okay, this is really the positive of having social media, and maybe these people these friends that I have that I don't really talk to that much. This is why I keep this. I keep this establishment. But besides that one-off event, like I really don't know what's the purpose for it, except for that addictive tendency of just like I don't know. I feel like I'll go on sometimes Facebook just to like look through things like for news, because there's an algorithm, like you said, right? Like it's gonna come up like, oh, what, this band's touring, so now I know this concert's coming out, and then I get this like fear of like, oh, if I get rid of Facebook, I won't know what bands are coming out. So, but like I'm just a lot of times with Facebook and Instagram, I'm just like I said, that whole like scroll of doom. I'm just going through it, and I'm like, and I really, it's almost like doing drugs in the sense, or drinking, where I'm just like this intention. I'm like, is this bad for me?
Well, it hits the same reward centers as drug and alcohol.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Like that dopamine release,
Yeah.
like it hits that, and that's why people get stuck in that all day, and like they'll do that instead of go to sleep, or they'll do that instead of do their work.
Right.
But I'll say this: I think what you just said earlier about like how you kept up with a friend who was passing away. Like I think that is probably, I would say, falls in like the good category of social media. I feel like that's maybe what people intended it to be, because that happens to me a lot, like where not necessarily something like life changing like that, but like where I'll see someone had kids, or someone graduated, or someone's kids are like 5 years old now. I haven't seen them in 4 years, and they're playing baseball, and So that's kind of cool because then when I run into them randomly, it's like, oh, I'm kept up with their life. We don't have to like go through and like I don't know anything about this person, but I've kept up with their life through social media. Obviously, me and you went through a period where we didn't see each other very much.
Yeah.
But like I feel like I kept up with. Oh, actually, you don't post that much, but like Shannon posts sometimes, or
Yeah.
like friends that I know post a lot of times. I'll keep up with their lives, even though we don't have to like make an event out of it. You know.
Before doing Mr. Therapist, why would you post things? Why do you post things? You personally.
Before doing it, me personally, I think it was kind of weird, dude. I actually didn't post a lot because,
all right.
but when I did, it was just to like let the world know what I'm doing. I felt like whenever I post,
Why?
yeah, because I felt like I have to be relevant. Like I have to like I gotta like I'm studying. I think one time I posted I was in the library and I was bored and I was like I'm just gonna post like UCSB stands for you can't study buzzed. You can study buzzed or something like that. Or like I'd be like, oh, I got a big test tonight. I'm like, but every time I did it though, I felt awkward. Like I'm not one of those people that likes to post that. So I was like, why am I doing this? It felt a little gross.
Yeah, I found myself. I had my daughter recently, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna post pictures of her.
Yeah.
That's
a little easier for me to do.
Right. But then I also found like, why do I need to like let people in on like? I guess it's probably cool to see, like you said, like somebody growing up, and you're like, oh wow, Jesse's daughter's now this age. But I feel like there's also a part of me. There's important. My privacy has been lost through some social media, and I think that, and maybe
do you
that's.
care about that?
I do actually. Yeah, I think at one point in time, before her, I was gonna say like I found myself posting more and more just for attention.
Yeah.
Much more like we talked about. We started talking about relevancy and just being known. I feel like that there was a need I was missing from that, and I felt like, well, if I share this post or share that post, like it is, I feel like a lot of it's attention seeking. Maybe it's just me. This is what I do a lot. Is like I'll probably look at the negatives a lot and overthink things, and like, is this another unhealthy aspect of what I do and who I am?
Yeah.
But I just found myself like I don't really need to post anymore because like. I have to be comfortable with me, even though I'm not always comfortable with who I am. But like, I found myself posting because I just wanted attention from other people.
Yeah, and like social media mechanisms reinforce that because it's like you're looking for likes, you're looking for people to comment on your stuff, you're looking for engagement.
Right.
And so if you like post something and you get like 2 likes, you're just like, oh damn, that sucks. Like this wasn't worthy, right? Like,
no, I've done that before where I've posted something and I think it was even with Violet. I was like this. I remember telling myself, this shit better get a lot of likes. Somebody better tap on that heart. If you don't tap on that heart, like you're a terrible person.
I'm blocking you.
But it's just like but like seriously, like that's where it's what it's come down to is like that's where I'm gonna gain my like self-esteem. Maybe it's just I don't know if it's getting older and more of an awareness, but once again, maybe it's just the overthinking.
No. I think what you're describing is the bad part of social media. I feel like probably almost 100% of the people that go on social media probably experience that.
Right.
Like experience that. Yeah, like identity or self-esteem that's attached to your engagement. Right. It's like social media is like the high school, like, you know what I mean, era of like, if you're not popular, then like, it means you must not be worthy, right?
It's really sad too because I'll see people post sometimes, and there's almost sometimes I see like this need for attention, I almost cry for help, and I just find myself like, this is probably, if you need that, this is probably the worst channel for you to go about doing that because I think it's harming you more than it's helping you. So I think that's sometimes where. Listen, there's a lot of great things about social media, and there's a lot more awareness with mental health with social media. But I felt like in a lot of ways, social media has done us dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not turning off my phone tomorrow, even though maybe I should. Maybe I should like.
We'll be scrolling after this, right?
Right. In between breaks, right? Like I'm sure, like there's a part of me that really wants to detox from that.
Yeah, I dig that.
But I just. But once again, I'll be like, my daughter will probably want to watch Miss Rachel, so I'll be like, here, check out this real quick on my phone, and just because at some point, because I need a break, but it's just it's hard to break away. But
you know what? I really appreciate like what you just said, like the whole idea of detoxing like it should be a thing. Like it should
Yeah.
like being being responsible enough to have social media should be a thing that's talked about more. Like
Yeah.
because it takes a responsibility. It takes like a self discipline, I
Yeah,
guess.
it does.
Almost,
It
it's
does.
almost like same thing as eating, same thing as drinking,
Yeah.
same thing as anything. It's
Right.
like everything in moderation
Yeah.
is okay
Yeah.
in moderation,
Right.
right? But like social media makes it so easy for you to get hooked, and I heard people talk about TikTok being like the most addictive thing out there,
Yeah.
right? And it's like because those videos are so short, they're focused in on the things that like you love, and that entertain you and engage you,
Yeah.
and it's a never ending cycle.
It's wild because you say that. I feel like my attention span, I think in some ways has been impacted by
Yeah.
social media because it's like, quick, get this over with.
Yeah.
Sometimes I struggle just to, I'll sit down. I'm like, I'll be watching like a show and I'll be like 10 minutes in. I'm like, I need a break.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm going to pick up my phone instead. Like I need
Yeah.
something quicker, but I still need to be entertained. Like, yeah, I feel like there's the damage has been done.
Yeah.
I talked about the detoxing from it. Working in treatment centers, often we'll do this: is if a client comes in, we'll take away their electronic
Yeah.
devices, and you really get to kind of see the social experiment at work right there. And people struggle with it. People don't even want to come into treatment because it's like I
'Cause
can't.
of that,
I
yeah.
can't put this down.
Let me
for 7
ask
days.
you, when did you start to pay attention to that in that angle of it, of like, oh, they're gonna be away from electronics? Because when I was working in recovery, I always thought that was more because so people didn't like call
Call
a
their-
friend or
yeah.
call someone, say, hey, this place sucks, like
Get me out.
like get me out of here.
Yeah.
But like,
Break me
but
free.
you make a
Yeah.
good point now. It's like, no, you're detoxing from technology. Like,
Yeah.
when did you start looking at it that way?
It
Was
took,
that recently?
I mean, I think it was. I don't know when it was, but I do remember initially going, "Fuck, just give them their fucking phone."
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming off drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, give them something at
Yeah.
least, right? Like, can't you give them a cup of coffee or
Yeah.
just? But then slowly I started to see like, wow, I'm like, I would like a part of that. There is like a
Yeah.
freedom with that, which
Yeah.
like I'm almost envious of them. Even though if you tried to take my phone away from me right now, I'd be like, don't you
no.
dare, right? You better back on up. But
Feel insecure if you
Yeah.
can't feel it in your pocket,
right,
you know?
exactly. So, hell, I got my phone to my left, and I'm like, what,
Yeah.
you know? So, I keep looking to my left over here, but no, I started to see like, wow, this is a good idea, and
Yeah.
I wish a lot of us could experiment somehow, use that.
I heard something the other day, and I'm just checking our time here. I heard something the other day, and it really hit me. It was like talking about how our kids, when they're at a certain age, they don't know what a phone is. They don't know, like, they're just like
Yeah.
they're just interacting, and like their survival is through how they connect with us with eye contact and talking to them and engaging with them, interacting with them. But I heard someone say, like, imagine your kid like just staring at you, looking at a phone. They don't know it's a phone. They don't know that there's like things projecting off that phone.
Yeah.
They just see you walking around almost like with a brick in your hand, and
I
you're just
know.
staring at this brick all day, or like you're just all constantly on the, like, it's kind of weird and a little fucked up when you look at it that way, right?
It
It's almost
is.
like, damn, like that really hit me because I still go on my phone a lot, but
Yeah.
it makes me think sometimes. I'm like, man, I need to put this away because they don't know.
They don't.
My daughter's 4 now, so she's at the age now where she can
Right,
watch
right.
something in her. But at like my 5-month-old, she doesn't know what the hell's going on. She sees me looking at a phone, doesn't understand. She just thinks I'm looking at some random thing,
Yeah.
and just that perspective, it's mind blowing. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
You brought up too before we went on air here was talking about like how teens are impacted.
yeah,
I mean, this generation now is, as you know, you have a young one, I have a young one. They're growing up in this.
yeah,
Where a lot of us, like me, like it was a television set for me. My parents, my mom would sit me in front of the TV screen, and that was could be
Yeah.
my babysitter at times. Now the phone is, or a tablet
Yeah.
is, or whatever however you.
It's so easy now because it's phone, it's tablet. I mean, sometimes it's school. School is virtual sometimes, right? For some people who can
Right.
opt into that. Watches, video games. It's just so easy. Like, everything
Yeah.
is technology, and like I feel like after 2020, when a lot of things went virtual, is when I started to notice just the effect on like that social media or media in general actually had on kids. And I was working at a school at the time, and yeah, dude, a lot of mental health, social emotional problems occurring because kind of kids resort to technology devices. And like for parents, I feel for them, because sometimes it's almost like your crutch to like take a break, or
Yeah.
your crutch to like get a breather, right? And if you don't know how to manage it for yourself, how are you going to manage that for your kid,
Yeah.
right? And if you tell your kid to stop, turn off the video game, and then you're going on watching TikTok all
Right,
day,
exactly.
it's almost like this really poor habit that's hard to break, but it has a big impact. I mean, we talk about like how it affects the same system in your
Yeah,
brain
yeah,
as drugs.
yeah.
And if you think about that, when you are playing a video game and you are activating that part in your brain, the reward system in your brain that's sending out dopamine, hits after hits after hits of dopamine, and then you're unplugged off your game, or you're not able to play, you're grounded, whatever it is. Like now you're going through a withdrawal effect. Like
Yeah.
the things that normally should give you dopamine, that like going out and playing with some kids, or going outside, running, exercising, playing a board game, and talking to family, now don't feel as rewarding
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
like like the video game did, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of
So we're
kind of insane.
So we're kind of fucked.
We're fucked unless we like we take it serious, right? Like I almost feel like I wish there was like classes around this now, like
Yeah.
in school or something.
This is like it's. I don't want to. I think it's somewhat set in stone, the way things are. Not that look at every change can always happen. I
Yeah.
believe though that this problem or whatever you want to call it, I think it's there, and yeah, I think individually we can continue to work towards like making changes with that, but even like the mental health movement, I think that there's so much more awareness of it when you go on social media. It could be like a little inspirational, like Matthew McConaughey, like quotes and music behind. Like there's little things here and there that like cool. It's like a little. It could be a breath of fresh air of just like it just shoots at you. But I know that in talking with clients, still like I remember I was talking to this client. She was like 19, 20 years old, and she was saying like, I'm like, is there really like this impact on it? She's like, no, Jesse, there's not. Like, she's like, boys still act like boys, and girls still act like girls, and it's out there, but there's still. I mean, and maybe we're in the early stages of that, and maybe my expectations too high right now of what it should be or what it could be. And I guess if you keep implementing like things that we do or other people in the field, like if we can like put more light into the dark, then maybe things will get better. But right now though, yeah, it's still really like an uphill battle
Totally.
when it comes to like positive media for mental health, not positive media for mental health, but just like going against what is already out there that can be very toxic for young ones, for adults, for whoever.
The social media is also like relatively new, right? Like
Yeah.
you almost look at it like I think about like cigarettes, right? Like
Yeah.
cigarettes came out and like everyone was smoking. It was a cool
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
to smoke. You could
Mhm.
smoke in restaurants. You could
Yeah.
smoke around kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Later started finding how like it
Don't
messes
you miss
you up.
Don't you miss smoking around kids?
I don't. I don't. I wasn't even. I don't even think I was
smoking on
right?
planes.
Yeah, smoking everywhere.
Check
right?
this
Like,
out. Yeah. Oh
and,
my gosh.
the marketing, right,
Yeah,
towards
yeah.
like being cool with smoking, and like how once that we started realizing how that was messing kids up or messing people's lives up, how we went completely 180 the other way. It's like no, this is actually dangerous. So I mean, yeah, when you talk about like finding light in the dark, like we're kind of learning
Yeah.
how to manage social media and what it does to us, what it impacts us, and hopefully, I mean, we've done it before. We hope we can make a correction back to like something a little more healthy,
Yeah.
So
So we just need to clean the slate.
clean
Erase
it
the
up.
grid. I don't know.
know. Press the reset button.
Yeah, maybe
we need
I
those
don't know.
codes.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes. Like, what if? I don't know. I guess it's one of those what ifs, and it's just a crazy what if of like, what if we removed all this? And I sometimes always think about like trends, and maybe they'll become a trend of like, well, people will start going outside. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw this in the last couple years, but the screen is back.
Yeah. Have you ever got depressed like going through social media, or felt like your mood like decline on social media at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, as I say, of course, because there can easily be a shift of.
Yeah.
But in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's that awareness of like, gosh, I just stared at my fucking phone for like 20 minutes.
What's the longest you've gone? Like scrolling. Yeah, let's do
I don't-
this.
I
Let's
don't-
open up some wounds right now.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe probably like maybe 20 minutes, 30
Dude,
minutes.
you're an amateur. So check this out. So like,
minor leagues. Over
yeah,
here.
minor leagues.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was when I first transitioned from working at school to working at home. It's kind of nice, you know. Like I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I can get up a little later, you know, kind of like take my time, make my lunch, do all that. But like slowly I started getting more and more comfortable, and I started realizing that like I'm like, dang, like it's getting really easy to just get sucked into like social media.
Yeah.
And it would get to the point, Jesse, where like I was like watching YouTube up to like 2 minutes before a session. And I would realize, like, I would notice just how like foggy I felt in session with clients.
Wow.
And how like how depressed that would make me, because it was like I was paying less attention to what I was doing in a room.
Yeah.
I wasn't as mindful or as like treatment savvy or minded, right? When my client wasn't like as clear or in the front of my mind. I'm like, I want to watch the next YouTube video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of So I remember it was a period where I'm like, dang, like I'm really like messing up. Like I felt really bad about that. And yeah, it's just living that effect of it really, I think, kind of scares me a little bit.
Well, I mean, you were in the deep end there, so I
Yeah.
guess I think it's in some ways it's a good way that you experience that. And like I've mentioned throughout this, like I do overthink a lot of things, and but with some of the overthinking comes some real positive thinking, because I can go, okay, I'm aware like how dangerous this can be for my mental,
Yeah.
and I can share that with people. Of just like let's reel it in a little bit.
It's good to have that
Yeah.
overthinking, because it makes you just a little aware. It makes you
Right.
correct anything that's not healthy for you. It's
Yeah.
not serving you.
Yeah. Wrapping it up now though, but like, you scared the shit out of me now, because I just opened up a TikTok for Mr. Therapist and the counselor.
Yeah.
So
And you're managing it too, huh?
oh my gosh.
You put some
open
butter,
fire, yeah,
Put
so-
some butterflies on the story or something, right? Like
It was a cupcake, all right? I posted a first one. There was a magical cupcake that showed up. It might be our fucking mascot before you know it. So,
yeah. I love it. I love
All right, brother.
cupcakes. All right, man. Good discussion.
yeah. Thanks, dude.